and take a look at our waiting room. I wanted to go live on Facebook. Okay, cool. Looks like we are good to go there. I'm gonna click admit. Nice. All right, we are getting connected here. Welcome, friends. I recognize every single name, so that's a plus. Love it. We got no randoms on tonight. But welcome. I hope everyone's having a great Friday here. It's been a whirlwind of a day. I don't know about you guys, but today's just been a complete whirlwind here. Oh, Jennifer's soaking in some sun. I love it. Love to see it. It's freaking hot out, hey?
It has been ridiculously humid in Ohio the last couple days.
Man, brutal. It's just like, yeah, I don't, it's definitely not been as humid here, but man, it's freaking hot. It's killer. Hope everyone has their drink of choice. I'm going with some strawberry wine tonight because it's been a day. So hope everyone's got, oh, nice. Jennifer's got a little assistant too. What's going on, Kimberly?
It's good. It's
Nice.
hot.
Yeah, I know, right? Man,
Mhm.
alive. I went for a run like 20 minutes ago and I thought my head was gonna blow off. So I was like, I'm
No. I went to the gym. I was like, maybe I should do the Coquitlam Crunch. I'm like, no, not in this weather. I can't believe you did that. That's crazy.
it was very stupid, I'm not gonna lie. I was regretting it as soon as I left the door, but I'm like, man, I've been sitting here on my laptop all day, so I'm like, I needed to move. But a gym, now I should have gone there. I was too lazy to drive though. Okay, amazing. I'm gonna give people maybe like one more minute here. So grab a drink, grab what you need to do. Oh, nice. It's Jeremy coming on too. Rock on. All my favorite people are coming tonight. Love it. It's gonna be a good time. For obviously, like I know all of you, but you guys don't know each other. Some of you may know each other, but go ahead and use the chat box or unmute yourself, whatever you're comfortable with. And I'd love if you can share where you're chiming in from, and then tell us a little fun fact about you or about your business, something like that. We're not going to do anything super formal here, but would love to have you guys chime in either the chat box or unmute, and then we'll dive into things. Oh, nice. It is Jeremy. Rock on. How you doing, man?
Hey, just
Yo,
doing
Jeremy,
some
why don't you go first? I'm gonna pick on you because you're the only dude.
oh no. Hang on. Ugh. Sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah, so introduce yourself, where you're chiming in from, and then tell us the funnest fact about yourself. And yes, that's a word.
The funnest. Oh dear.
Fun stuff about you.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess. Sorry. I have a burp coming on and there it is. Well, my name's Jeremy, out of Cloverdale, Langley. Not gonna say it's Surrey. I'm gonna deny that till the day I die. But I guess interesting fact with me is I guess because the fact that I've run both photo and video, I know both the ins and outs of both, and I know the challenges and the gains of both. And there are times where I very much like one over the other. Like I finally gotten to do photo editing again, and not to be a little bit, but the photo editing has been so much faster than video. I don't know. I think of my brain's like very much in working mode. Like I'm kind of editing some photos right now. I think it's speaking.
Nice.
Oh, actually, wait, no, hang on. I actually do have an interesting one. I got the second shoot for someone, and the wedding was the co-owner of Isabel Bridal.
Oh, no way. Rock on.
Yeah, that's way more interesting.
I mean, both are great, man. Appreciate you sharing. But I do see what you mean on the video and photo. I know nothing about video editing, but if I ever had to edit one, I think I'd want to blow my brains out. So kudos to you, man.
And it's you can at least have something going on in the background for when you're having a photo. You can
Yeah.
do that to an extent when you're doing video, when you're culling, but then when you actually have to pay attention to the sound and everything, then it's like, nope, it's 100% that, and
Yeah.
it sucks otherwise.
Totally, totally. Sweet. Okay, appreciate you sharing, man. Anyone else want to share? I'm not gonna, I just wanted to pick on Jeremy because we go way back, so I can do that to him. But if anyone else wants to share, unmute yourself or use the chat box, and then if not, then we will just get rocking here. But I recognize a lot of these faces here, so I feel like some people will give a little intro here. Maybe Abby will turn her camera on, who knows? I'm like, who should I stare at? No one can really tell who I'm staring at anyway. I got all these boxes here. Okay, that's all right. I see Delaney unmuted. Maybe Delaney's gonna intro.
So my mic actually has my boom mic mutes when it's up. So I sit with it unmuted in Zoom, but muted with my boom because my husband's also in my same room. We share an office, so
Gotcha.
Like
sound
that.
reverberates. But sure, I'll do a quick introduction. So I'm Delaney. I'm out of Akron, Ohio, which is just a little bit south from Lake Erie. So I know many of your faces from Boss Babe and a couple other stuff that Esther's done. So hello again.
-1.
Hey, I actually got to shoot with Jeremy when I was in Vancouver for the Boss Babe retreat. So that was awesome and that was fun. So
That was fun.
yes, I wish I could do it again for 25, but alas, I can't. A fun fact about me is I've been building my own magazine.
Ooh.
So issue 1 was kind of a really quick throw together, but it's going into my client boxes. Got the idea off of Tia from BBR. So issue 2 is in the works right now and it's already doubled in size.
Wow.
Dang.
Nice. And the first one already looked so killer.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a work, but I have the time right now because I'm kind of low on just about all of my photography stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really weird out here, so I'm like, work on the client experience goals. So
Yeah,
it's been fun.
Yeah, definitely fun. It's like a fun passion project because it's not obviously something that you need to offer, but you're enhancing your client experience. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing, Delaney. And Quinn went ahead and put it in the chat box if any of you guys missed it here, but she is not going to be unmuting tonight. But she has represented Canada twice for curling, which is super killer. She's obviously very talented
That's
at that.
cool.
And yeah, we love to see it. I feel like photo facts are like great, but when you get somebody who is a really good curler, I feel like that's a rare thing. So that has to be recognized.
Absolutely.
100%. Okay, love it. So 6:10 here, so we're gonna go ahead and dive in so that we can cover some fun topics here. So as you guys know, I want to go ahead and go through some different strategies for getting more bookings from Instagram and TikTok, and I want to make this interactive, so just use the chat box as much as possible. If we have time at the end, then we'll do some Q&A, but we do have to be wrapped up by 7 PST, which I feel like we have a lot of locals more than normal on here. Usually it's everyone chiming in from the States. So, I mean, that's kind of fun that we get to mix it up here. So most of us are on the same time zone. But I want to know first and foremost, since this is going to be about how to get more bookings from Instagram and from TikTok, we're obviously going to cover a few things on each of those platforms. If you guys can use the chat box, tell me which app are you more comfortable with right now? So you can just go IG or TT. I have no idea what Jeremy's going to say.
Oh, you know.
Okay, Delaney, Instagram, Kimberly, Instagram. Okay, I'm noticing a bit of a trend here.
I don't know how to make
Yeah.
chat lock come up. Oh, there it is.
Come on, Jeremy, get with the program, man. Okay, nice. Jennifer lately, TikTok, love it. Looks like, yeah, Jeremy, Jeremy's old. Yes, Abby, I definitely agree with that. Abby's pretty much like dead on Instagram. If you see a post on there, like, she's alive, what? What is happening? But Abby's like the absolute queen on there. Oh my gosh, Alicia, take the word right out of my mouth. I love it. It's true though. If you guys don't follow Abby on TikTok, you should, because just do what she's doing. It works. So she freaking crushes it on there. So we love to see it. Yes, Des is rocking your TikTok. Those analytics are wild, actually. So yeah, I mean, what you guys should do as well, since some of us know each other, some of us don't, go ahead and put your Instagram and TikTok handle in the chat. And then if you guys have your phone handy, you can go follow each other. That's always good stuff here. So, yeah, okay. I would agree with that, Quinn. Obviously I know Quinn's business very well. So, I mean, she freaking kills it on TikTok and gets literally, Quinn a while back had people hire her. She had like not posted any wedding content. They hired her just strictly for her vibe on TikTok, which I think is a super cool thing about TikTok, is that there was literally no photos. You know, people think, oh, scrolling on Instagram for the perfect portfolio. They hired her because of her vibe on TikTok, which if you go to Quinn's TikTok, she posted it in the chat here. It's very much pushing you know, what her personality offers to people's wedding days, which I think is super cool. So okay, amazing. Jeremy on both, I think. Nice. Jeremy's also the TikTok king. We got to give him a shout out here, guys. Okay, perfect. So everybody posted theirs in there. We can go and follow each other. That's awesome. Welcome, Elena. Good to have you on here. Okay, perfect. Awesome stuff. We are getting that posted there. So, one thing I will say, just spoiler alert right off the bat, if anyone's here thinking, sweet, this is gonna be, you know, a nice magic pill I can pop and get my TikTok and Instagram blowing up, get all these inquiries coming in. Unfortunately, not how it works. It is a lot of effort. You can ask any of my coaching members. They are literally like sweating when I'm given action plans, because it's like, it's a lot. So yeah, talk to Jeremy, talk to Quinn, talk to Abby, like literally people will give you the same thing. Abby has a baby and I'm like, yo, get on this, do this. And I'm like, okay, she's got a newborn, just like chill out for a second. So, but she is rocking it on the mom and biz front. So we love to see it, but had to just put that disclaimer out there. So basically what I want to do is, I noticed that majority of us did say that they're most comfortable on Instagram. So what I figure would make sense is that we can go ahead and start with TikTok. We can chat about that a little bit, do some questions if you guys have it, and then we'll swing over and transition to Instagram, because obviously there's a lot to cover with both. So I'm trying to do what I feel is the most important things for each of these apps, because otherwise we'd be here for 24 hours probably, given how much I talk and how much info there is to know. So try to break it down here with what the most important things are as we go through. And one thing I will add as well is, if you guys ever have anything to add to what I'm saying, or you want to clarify something, put it in the chat box. I'll address it as it comes through here. So yeah, go ahead and do that. But let's talk about TikTok, because I love it. I myself love making videos on there. And then I have my full-time assistant that spends a lot of her hours every month on TikTok making content, because I'm like, hey, do this. Hey, I had an idea. Can you do this? And the cool thing is, since she started working for me, the transition of the percentage of leads that I get from Instagram to TikTok changed drastically. So I think right now we're sitting at about 40% leads come from TikTok, which I think super cool because if you look at my TikTok, there's not really much like serious stuff on there when it comes to like, here's why you should hire me. It's more just like fun stuff. And my favorite clients always come from TikTok. I find that they're the most that vibe with my personality the most because of all the goofy things on there. So first and foremost, what I want to start with TikTok is you need a really large sample size. And what I mean by that is it's really hard to get serious results and actually get real inquiries and bookings from TikTok if you're not working with a massive sample size. So you can, obviously you can talk to Abby, you can talk to Quinn. I push them consistently, especially these two on TikTok volume wise, getting more content out there, because at the end of the day, if we're putting out, a couple videos a week type deal, it is very difficult to actually get traction with that, have people coming in the pipeline. So one thing I like to encourage people on is if you can get into a routine where you've got either a set day, set time of day, something like that, where you're able to dedicate to literally just TikTok research and content creation, you're going to be in a really, really good position. And I guarantee you're going to be getting bookings coming your way from TikTok because of that consistency and the larger sample size. So that's obviously the first piece there that you want to keep in mind. The second thing with a larger sample size is you're just playing a numbers game now. We all know that sometimes the most random stuff can go viral on TikTok. You literally never know. So the way I look at it is it's kind of like gambling. You're putting out a ton of stuff there. You're going to see what's going to pick up. And it's typically the ones that I'm like, I don't know if this is actually a good idea to post, or didn't put a lot of effort into it or whatever, that will pick up. And then I can analyze and be like, what are the ones that are performing well? And then I'll go and start replicating and making a little twist off of it, or different pieces like that. So that's something there that I think you can really look at and be like, all right, if I have a bigger sample size, my chance of it actually picking up more traction is going to be greater, and you're going to be able to analyze it in a better way because now you've got this big sample size to go from. So that's one piece there that's super, super important when it comes to volume. The second thing I want to talk about when it comes to TikTok is there is a huge variety of the types of content that you can put out there on TikTok. So if anyone wants to use the chat box, I would love to hear from you guys. If you can go ahead and put an example of content that you think would be like a good piece or type of content that you can put out on TikTok. I can think of about 6 or 7 right now. I'd love to hear from you guys first if there is something that comes to mind right off the bat. I feel like especially Quinn and Abby. Let's see if you guys want to post anything of just particular type of content, but this goes for anyone. If you want to put that in the chat box as we continue here. I'm always curious on that. Yeah, comedy or relatable content. Love that. Behind the scenes, trending memes, model calls, session giveaways. Yes, love it, love it. These are all fantastic. And then, yeah, photographer point of view, shooting, editing, photo results. Awesome. You guys are rocking this. That is, yeah, get to know me 100%. So that all is fantastic stuff here. A lot of this is like I said, just thinking off the top of my head about the 7 in mind here. Like you guys are crushing that. So one thing that Quinn mentioned here when it comes to model calls is Quinn's had a lot of success on TikTok from doing this. And one of the videos, she was literally, you can go to her page and check it out. She's like microwaving something standing there. It's super casual, but it's very authentic. And it's just like she's standing there microwaving something, telling people, hey, this is what I got going on. Got so many comments, so many views. And the beautiful thing with that is now all these people have landed on her page. They can start looking at other videos, surfing around. And then also everyone who comments, we go and do a big follow-up process with everyone there. So you've just gotten all this traffic to come to you. And then it's your job to now be like, oh my gosh, I have so many people in here that want my service. What am I going to do with this? So it's really the ball's in your court at that time And I'm always a person of saying time is of the essence, especially on TikTok. If you end up following up with people that comment on that or something like that, even a few days later, a lot of times the leads can die very quickly. So that's one piece to keep in mind that I wanted to mention when it comes to the model calls, session giveaways, things like that. They're great for grabbing traction, pulling people in, but you got to follow up really quickly on those. So Alexia mentioned comedy or relatable content. I love that because the one thing to keep in mind when putting different video piece content out there is people, they obviously love relatable things because for one, that's going to be send worthy. They're going to want to send it around to their friends. They're like, oh, that's super funny. Maybe they're going to grab it. Maybe they're even going to save it and post it to their Instagram story. Maybe they're just going to save it on TikTok. They're going to comment because they're like, oh my goodness, that's so relatable. So I think one thing you can keep in mind when creating content is being like, okay, I'm thinking of who I want to reach and how can I make something that's actually going to be very relatable to them. So love that. Yeah, photographer point of view, what Alicia mentioned is fantastic. And what I like to call that is, or some of it at least, is like B-roll. So you can literally set up your phone. Some of you have explicitly told me, hey, I don't really love being in front of the camera much. This content creation thing, not super big on that. Some of you have told me that explicitly. And so what I always encourage is like, great, do faceless content then, if you're not comfortable with it. And B-roll and photographer point of view is great because you can do time lapses of you on your laptop editing. You can do some where you just see the back of you from shooting. You can do some like bird's eye view stuff. Like you can really have fun with that, and mix it up there. So I love that one. Abby mentioned photo results. I think sometimes people almost like leave that a little bit like, oh no, like those are more for Instagram. But I will say the photo result ones, like Abby does a great job of this. You can go and look on her TikTok. I have Desiree, my assistant, is now working with Delaney as well. She does a great job of doing the moment versus the photo. A lot of those perform really, really well on TikTok. So that's awesome there. Get to know me, masking my stress, lack of sleep. That's, I mean, hey, it's relatable for photographers. So there you go. But one thing I didn't see here is value pieces. So what I mean by either value or value piece is what you can do is think of, and this is the biggest thing that I think is oftentimes missed with photographers, is thinking of a main pain point when it comes to your ICA, so your ideal client avatar, and thinking through what are some things that they're struggling with. So for example, one of my coaching members, we had a meeting yesterday and we were talking about this, about pain points for her ideal avatar. And basically we came up with, okay, well, she's noticing that from TikTok, a lot of brides in her area are mentioning that they're stressed out because they literally don't know what they need to do and what timeline of things and whatnot. So we were like, okay, cool. Well, let's make a little like reference list of 6 months out, 3 months out, this. And then she went and made a TikTok and said like, hey guys, if you're getting married in New Brunswick, here's a resource that I put together. It talks a little bit about it, hooks them in, gives them a call to action. Boom. She sent out 20 copies of that, got some inquiries just from doing that because she was looking to serve instead of sell. So I think that's something to keep in mind, especially on TikTok, is you're thinking, how much can I give? What can I put out here? What's going to be something that somebody's going to go ahead and save? And the nice thing is when you put together something like that and you're going ahead and offering it, you can get their email, you can send it over to them, you can ask them how wedding planning's going. It's a really great thing to do. And the second thing you can do is you can just repurpose that content. So if you're like, I have this list, I'm just going to make a video on it now, and I'm going to green screen myself, put myself in the corner. I'm going to tell people, hey, if you're engaged, here's what you need to do. This is from a wedding photographer perspective because I have been to a million weddings, so allow me to share what I know. And I think that value that you're able to offer, people are going to want to save. They're going to want to follow you. They're maybe going to reach out and say, hey, I need a photographer. I noticed that's one thing that I need to do right off the bat from your list. And then I landed on your page, saw some of your photos. So really, really great thing to do. So yeah, those are the kind of the main pieces there. You guys mentioned some of them there. If there's anything to clarify off of that, of something I talked about, put it in the chat box because I can get carried away on this stuff because I end up talking louder and faster because this is just exciting stuff. So, getting someone to follow you for BTS and surroundings is huge, especially if, yes, that's a really great point, Delaney. I'm glad you bring that up because oftentimes people say, hey, that's great, you have these ideas, but I have no content of me shooting. I mean, this morning I had a sunrise engagement session and my associate, I texted her, I WhatsApped her like a whole bunch of videos afterwards, and she's like, oh my goodness, I have like no behind the scenes of me. Thank you for these. I'm going to use these for, I'm like, exactly. I'm like, a lot of people don't. So that's a really good point, Delaney. So, sometimes posting online isn't about the engagement. Someone might remember you based on a post that flopped. Yes, I love that. So true. I mean, I've had a lead from a video that got like 200 views, and I was a little bit discouraged of like, that I think is a really, really great piece of content, but I'm like, who cares about the views? You get, something stands out, resonates with a bride, she's gonna reach out, boom, you get a high ticket wedding out of that. So that's a really, really good point. I love that. I love that you guys are adding pieces in here because I think it's more fun when it's interactive and the chat box is going off. So love it. Keep adding as we're talking through things. If something, pops into your head while we're chatting about something, like just toss it in while we're going here. So, TikTok, Instagram, one might flop. Yes, very, very good point. It is super different. And oftentimes it's interesting to compare what performs well on each app because sometimes shorter form content, for example, will do really, really well on Instagram. And then on TikTok, a longer vlog may perform well, or something with like a long caption on Instagram may do better than on TikTok. So it is quite interesting to see what's going to be good there. And I know Jennifer put in the chat before this, she wanted to hear a little bit about reposting and content creation when it comes to the two separate apps. So I have that on my list to make sure we cover that as well. And I'm interested to hear everyone's perspective on that. So that's a really, really good point there, Delaney. And that kind of brings me to my next point of, when it comes to TikTok, I think oftentimes the goal in mind or the measure of success, and I mean, Kimberly touched on this too, when it comes to like views and likes and all this stuff, TikTok especially, is very easy to get caught up in like, I need this to go viral. That's what I need. But one thing I like to point out is there's two different types of viral. So there's a viral, which everyone knows obviously is like, wow, this is picking up crazy traction. I've never seen numbers like that. But there's also a viral for me. So if you look at your account, you see, what's the average amount that I normally get on there. And then something, performs a little bit better than other ones, or maybe a lot better. You can look at that as like, hey, that's awesome. That's a viral for me piece of content, and I'm going to keep putting things out that are similar to that. So I think you can take that as a huge win, especially if it's just a piece of content. You're like, hey, that outperformed. Why did that outperform? And you can analyze it and make similar content to that. So, alrighty, just gonna take a look here. A reel that shows a certain tip or trick that works for both photographer and couple, like a pose idea or framing tips. Yes, that's a really good one. Let's do thumbs up there. Because it's so true. I think if you're relating it to both, you're widening your audience as well, which is great. So maybe our ideal client avatar isn't photographers, but I mean, hey, they're going to be saving it. They're like, hey, that's a great idea. Maybe they're going to interact with you. Maybe it's going to turn into an associate or second shooting gig. Who knows? Like, there's so many different opportunities there. So I think that's a really great point, Jeremy. So, okay. So, what I would love to know from you guys is if you have a one video that comes to mind specifically from your TikTok channel that you were like, yep, that one crushed it. I'm super happy with that. I would love to have you put in the chat box. Tell me, what was that about? And specifically, do you remember what the hook was? Because I want to talk a lot about hooks now. And I want to hear from you guys, your top performing video or one that just stood out to you that you're like, I'm very proud of this. Go ahead, share it in the chat box here. Tell me about it. If you remember the hook, please include that in here. I'd love to see what that's like. And then I'm going to share a couple examples as well, just to get everyone on the same page here when it comes to hooks. All right, I'll give us a minute here and I will just chug some wine while we're waiting. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, Quinn, as you mentioned, mine, microphone lunch talking. Yes, wave inner fork around. And I mean, average plays is 500 and a beer. Well, that video, I've never heard that expression. That's why I'm laughing. Well, that video came just shy of 10K when it died down. Yes, that was super, super rad. Doing a bad mock crocodile hunter video, but the wildlife being observed photographer at a popular location. I know exactly the one. That that was pretty great. Desiree was confused about that, but it was awesome. So okay, love it. And then Quinn, do you remember what the specific hook was that you said or what the text was for that one? I would be curious about that. And then Jeremy, if you remember what the hook was there, go ahead and put that in the chat box. Alexia recently introduced our new drone services on TikTok in a video. Good, 1,200 views were interested in, it keeps moving. Interested in it with the transitions. I did, okay, amazing. Jeremy's probably getting hyped right now. He saw the word drone and he's just like buzzing. That's awesome. I think that's super cool. You offer drone services. Jennifer, behind the scenes video on a wedding day with photos. One for my birthday so far. Funny video with lose my lens cap. Okay, amazing. Jennifer, do you remember what the hook was on the video there? And then Quinn will see if she can find it. Delaney, point of view shots. Does if it rains on your wedding day. Highest and likes. Kate, amazing. So I'm going to use Delaney's as an example here before I jump into sharing a couple of mine. So Des, as people know, she's my assistant. She does content creation. She works with Delaney as well, along with some other photographers doing their social media management. So she created one that said, you know, point of view, if it rains on your wedding day, it was something of like basically to not stress, you know, if it rains, here's what the photos can look like. So for one, it's relatable to brides. They're gonna be like, I was so worried about that. They see that, and it performed really well. I can't remember what the views was, but Delaney, if you remember what that looked like, that was really, really awesome. Great piece of content there on TikTok. And you hooked people in by saying like, hey, here's a little behind the scenes clip if it rains, and then showing the results, which like the results looked incredible. So people were super hyped about that. Hook was the bad accent. End of every session, realizing, Kate, love it. That's a great hook. Wow. Okay, Delaney, that's huge. Super, super cool. And literally like a video that I'm sure, you know, didn't take a extreme amount of time, but hooked people in regarding the rain. Boom. Everyone's like, that's super cool. I'm sure she got a whack of saves on that too. So yes, Des does kill it. So if people want content creation, go to Des. She is so good at what she does. I always tell her that, and she's like, well, I spend a lot of time scrolling TikTok, so her research part is great. Alrighty, I did a video of shots I found online that were similar to where'd it go? Okay. Similar to the photos I took for a client's birthday session, and the hook was recreating iconic birthday poses. Okay, amazing. That's a great hook. So I think nice. Abby saw it and it was killer. It is totally. Quinn, the hook of my video was asking where my Ontario couple's at. Amazing. So Quinn went ahead and, you know, shared what that hook was. And one thing that I was going to mention is when it comes to hooks, there's a few different things that you can do with this, but one being, I think it's a non-negotiable that there needs to absolutely be a hook on every single TikTok video. For one, you can really have some fun with it and mix things up. I actually have a cheat sheet just of hook examples. So if you want it, just shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll get that to you. But all this to say is, for one, I think it's a really great thing when you include location. So obviously Quinn did that. We were on a coaching call and we were talking about how can we get some more attention of people in her area. Okay, cool. Let's make this video and see what happens. And it took off, and it was a casual setting, really good hook. It was personal. It was totally authentic of how Quinn was talking. Like, that's how she is in person. So people can feel that energy through. So I think that's super awesome. But yeah, one thing, just like I said, to keep in mind, you can do a variety of different hooks. I think, obviously you can say, hey, you can address something at, 2025 brides. Hey, if you're struggling with this, here's a solution. Hey, I just put together this. If you're not sure what a timeline for a wedding day looks like, here's an example, and you can show what that would look like. You can say, one thing I wish I would have known earlier. Boom, you can go ahead and put some content or value pieces in there. So that's when it comes to hooks. I think really, really important. Sometimes I'll see a video that, as I'm in my research process of finding different inspiration and things like that, is I'll be scrolling through and I'll be like, literally, I'm the biggest nerd. I'll be analyzing these hooks and I'm like, okay, interesting. I'm like, this video performed really well for this particular influencer or photographer or videographer or whatever it is. And I'm like, interesting. So I'll go ahead and look at all those hooks. And oftentimes there's a lot of common things. It's like something that's short and to the point, something that is addressing a major pain point of who that person's audience is. So typically there's some common denominators there. If you don't do so already, I would highly encourage you to have a very strict research process before you go and do your content creation, so that you have a strategy in place and it's not just randomly throwing together some videos and putting it out there, seeing what sticks. But instead it's like, okay, I'm doing my research. I'm going and looking on TikTok here. The amount of videos that I have saved or that I've sent to Desiree, my content creator, is insane. It's a huge amount, but I find that you do have to be really on top of that if you want to be staying relevant, if you want to be reaching the right people, bringing in those inquiries and ultimately those bookings. So those are the main points I want to talk about when it comes to TikTok. So I'm going to transition over to Instagram now. I know a lot of you said you're more comfortable with Instagram, which I think is awesome. But I've got some different points that I want to talk about when it comes to Instagram, because it's obviously an amazing tool and I want everyone to be using it to your full potential. So we're going to go ahead and swing over to that. And then, yeah, like I said, if you think of things, toss in the chat box. I'm pretty chill, so anything goes. Let's do this. Oh, I see a question here. Have you noticed a difference between trending audio on IG and TikTok and views? Great question. What I've noticed from that is that things that are trending on TikTok first, and they'll come to Instagram later. Typically, the time frame I notice with that is about 2 weeks later. So Instagram Reels are like very behind when it comes to an audio that's doing well on TikTok. If you can be one of the first that's on bringing it over to Instagram, that's amazing. So oftentimes, if there is something that's doing well on TikTok, and let's say Desiree, for example, grabs something, uses it, and then I see that it does good on my page, I'll try and pull that over to Instagram after I've saw, okay, cool, it did well on there. I'll bring it over. Oftentimes it will perform well on there as well. I still would say views wise, I personally have noticed that it's easier and quicker to get better results on TikTok when it comes to views and engagement. But that's just me. I think though, if you are able to bring it over and repost it, it's a really, really great thing to do. But Instagram is oftentimes late to the game. So don't stress yourself out of having to bring it over right away, because you usually have that 2-week window of time, which is super nice. But yeah, it's quite funny to me, because obviously Reels is, trying to rip off TikTok and came into the picture, got more popular a little bit after. But it's kind of funny that stuff I'll be scrolling on Reels sometimes. I'm like, what? That's like so old. And then, I realize, oh, well, people are just reposting TikToks and it's from a while ago. So That's what I've noticed there. If anyone's noticed anything else, go ahead and toss it in the chat box here so we can chat about it there. But yeah, I'm gonna swing over here and then we'll see if we got some time for questions, clarification. I'm sure we can make some time here, but I will just try to not get too distracted here. But okay, so Instagram. The biggest thing with Instagram that I want to talk about is one thing, we're going to talk about how to be proactive when it comes to Instagram. And the second thing being thinking of your initial landing page. So your pre-landing page before they get to your website and thinking, okay, what do I have going on here? What are some things I can improve on? And then, like I said, we're going to talk about being proactive, different strategies that you can do there. So one thing I will say first and foremost, when it comes to Instagram, so when I sometimes I'll do like mini Instagram audits on Facebook. I'll put a post out, do some of those. Done that a few times in the past. And then I'll do an in-depth audit for coaching members. And oftentimes the common thing I notice with both of these that end up changing almost immediately is the bio. So if you have not done this in a while, if you haven't updated or you haven't looked at your bio and gone through it with a fine-tooth comb and thought, is this a really, really great and strong bio that is going to attract my ideal client avatar? And it's going to excite them to have me at their, if you're in the wedding niche, great. If you're in, boudoir niche, lifestyle, whatever niche you're in, is it going to excite them? And is it something that's different and unique and actually authentic to you? Or does it just look like every other photographer under the sun? So sorry if anyone's feeling called out, but it's just something that I notice oftentimes. So a couple things to keep in mind with that is one, how can you make their, and again, I'm using weddings as an example because that's just how my brain is, but you can change it to any niche that you want. But what I like to think is, how are you going to make their wedding day better? What is something that you're known for? What is your location? And is there a call to action in there? Those are oftentimes the criteria that I like to think about. And sometimes I'll go in and like update my bio, do what needs to be done to refresh it, make sure it's most up to date. And if my brand has changed a little bit, I'll make sure that I'm on top of that. So that's one piece there. The second thing when it comes to looking at your Instagram as a landing page is, are you actually sharing the majority of things that you're wanting to be shooting? And I know that may seem simple, but a lot of times wedding photographers, for example, will have, because they're doing, during engagement session, high season, there's all these engagement sessions on there, and those are great. But ultimately, if we're trying to book more high ticket weddings, we need to be showcasing that a lot more. So that's one thing that I just like to point out. And ultimately, when you are looking at it, I like to look at my Instagram as like a more personalized website where people are landing on it and you're wanting to get them ultimately to take the next step to click on your website. So you want to make it as easy as possible, as accessible as possible. Is your Instagram actually going to be searchable? Are you utilizing locations properly? Do you have your location even listed in your bio? Are you utilizing that in your captions? Are you adding alternate text? So there's a lot of different pieces there when it comes to Instagram visibility, and that if someone's searching, that you're actually going to rank and be showing up. Super, super important. I remember I had a coaching member, Caitlin, she was in the program, and basically Instagram, her engagement was like, okay, when we started working together. And, she would get 1, maybe 2 inquiries a month. And we ended up getting significantly more, a big swing over to Instagram when she actually started implementing a strategy. And that's where we're going to talk about being proactive here is, instead of it being, shoot, I need to, pull some photos, or, oh yeah, I haven't posted in a while and do that, is we literally had a very set and firm schedule. We had a spreadsheet laid out. It was like, okay, we have to stick to this. So that was super cool to see the swing over. And now, even to this day, we worked together like 2 years ago now. But to this day, Instagram's still her #1 lead source. And that's because now she's known for this Dallas wedding photography that people flock to her Instagram. And she does a great job with tagging, with locations, with hashtags, with visibility for her location. Really, really great to see. So that is one piece there. Now, next thing, which I still think is a very underrated tool. You can even ask Jeremy how this worked for him when he got going on the collaboration tool. So,
Oh,
yeah, Jeremy, do you want to share a little bit about this before I dive in? Because you're rocking it at the
um,
collab tool.
well, I was always wrong. Like I thought you would always do like just, the tagging, just saying, these are the people who are part of it. And then
Mhm.
you could also go into the photo and tag people, but it doesn't exactly do as much as a collaborator thing would do. And once I started doing the collaborator thing, I felt real dumb for having not done it prior, but it will share it to their feeds as well. So it's a collective cohesion of traffic. So my posts went from getting regularly like 10 to 20, maybe 30 on a good day, to now my regular is about 50 to 60 likes, and then lots more comments, a lot more traffic. My Instagram, what does it say now for my views? My regular views, so for my accounts, is 6,000 plus, and it used to be just 2,000. So that tripled just doing that. And I'm not very active on my Instagram right now. It's too busy right now, but the collabs definitely help. Of course, so long as the other person accepts, sometimes they won't.
Mhm.
And but if you have multiple, like the dress, let's say you want maybe just the bride, if you had one choice of bride and groom, bride, makeup, dress, venue. Venue would be a big one too, because you can
Mhm.
have five, right?
Yeah. Totally, totally. No, that's huge. And I mean, like those stats speak for themselves that, different engagement wise is tripling. You're getting a lot more comments. People are jumping on there because I think at the end of the day, a lot of times we're doing great content, we're putting stuff out there, but it's just not getting seen enough. So this collab tool solves that problem where you're able to literally, like Jeremy said, you can add up to 5. If they accept, amazing. And I would say it's oftentimes a great practice. Obviously, if you're, posting a branding photo of yourself or whatever, there's obviously gonna be some exceptions where you can't really do the collab tool, unless of course it's the other photographer. But anyway, the collab tool when it comes to vendors and clients is really, really awesome. And I've gotten a lot of leads this way is when either a venue accepts or a bride accepts, and then suddenly you have, her best friend just got engaged and messaged you and followed you because of the collab tool, or somebody's on the venue page. I had an inquiry the other day where they said that they found me through Instagram, and I oftentimes don't just take Instagram as the answer. I like to dig into it a little bit more. I'm like, but how? I'm like, were you searching something in particular? Were you looking at location? What was? And they said, oh, I was on the venue's Instagram and one of your pictures was on there. And then I was like, aha, it was the collab tool. Okay, amazing. So yeah, like Jeremy said, really, really great for engagement, great for lead generation. So if you're not already using it, highly, highly recommend you put that into practice. If you have up to 5 people you're able to invite, like invite all 5 and see what happens there. So Delaney loves the collab tool on portrait. Haven't done it much on wedding. Didn't know you could do 5. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. It used to be when they first rolled out the function, it was 1. I can't remember when. It was a while ago now that they switched it to 5. And that's the cool thing is oftentimes when I'm doing like a full wedding day post, I'll jump to their questionnaire and I'll be like, okay, who are all the vendors? And then I'll go ahead and do like the top ones first that I think are most important. So I'll do, venue, wedding dress shop, the couple, and hair and makeup or florist, whatever I'm feeling. So I'll kind of take a look there, add those. Yeah, really, really fantastic tool. So if you're not utilizing it, highly, highly recommend that you go and utilize that there. So okay. Let's go ahead and jump to the being proactive one here. So, there's an update recently. Yes, okay, great point. Where you can add after it's published. So, that is great because usually it used to be it was just a do or die situation. You post, you're like, oh shoot, forgot to do that. But you can be saved now to go and do that, which is I think a really great step on the Instagram part. So Okay, so let me see back on my notes here. One thing I'd love to hear from you guys, when it comes to Instagram, walk me through or just put a number in the chat. What is the amount of content between, let's just talk, we'll ignore stories for a second. Let's talk posts and reels. What's the amount of content? Put the number in the chat, amount of content between the two of those you post per week. Put that in the chat. And then the other thing I'd like to know is how often do you sit down and you're planning out your content for the week or for the month or whatever that looks like? I'd love to hear what that looks like. Toss it in the chat box and let's go through being proactive on Instagram here. And this will be like an average. I'll mention that as well, because I know sometimes some weeks are going to be higher than other, but just try to get a average here. So Lexia, I absolutely struggle with Instagram very hard because my follower base mostly TikTok or Facebook. It's on a rare basis sometimes. Okay, so not too many posts going there. And plans 2 weeks at a time. Okay, amazing. When it's not busy season, 3 times a week, one during busy season, I can't read anymore. The best that I can do. Fair enough, fair enough. Kimberly started getting back to it. It's been a while, planning all of July, slowly getting in 1 to 2 posts and then add on later. Okay. How, Kimberly, I'm curious, how long of a break, you said you're recently getting back to it. How long of a break was it from Instagram there? And not enough.
I think it's been, I actually can't remember. I think it's been like a little more than 6 months, to be honest.
Oh, for a while. Okay.
Yeah. I've been a student, so
Okay.
like I'm just so busy, but like now I'm like more free, so I want to like get back into it, and like I use scheduling tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is super helpful.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if you're like getting back after like a 6 month just not being on it. That's awesome. Getting back to it.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I'm sure people are excited to see some content, especially with that amount of time off. People are like, oh, nice. Seeing some new stuff here. That's awesome. Alrighty. Not enough. Been as a mindset. Recently have not been in social media mindset, but feel like I'm getting back into it. Okay, 3 to 4 times, spend an hour or two planning. Planoly's go-to at the moment. Okay, amazing. Yeah, I think there's a lot of great tools out there. You got to figure out what's obviously going to work best for you. But one thing when it comes to planning out content, being proactive, I think, like I said, what works well for me, and I kind of talked about this with TikTok, but what works well for me is just knowing that Tuesday mornings, I'm like, that's going to be my batch time. I'm going to batch things out. Personally, as you can tell, I got greasy hair, no makeup on. I don't love to get ready every single day, but when I film content, I don't want to feel greasy. So, that's what's worked well for me, is just knowing, okay, that's gonna be the time. And obviously then you're going to be most efficient with your time. Cause I think what ends up happening is people run short on time. So that's, one thing that I think can be great is if you're able to batch, you're going to be in a really, really great position there. So, that's super awesome there. And fun fact, I work. Oh, amazing. Okay, nice. Work in social media management. So guys, if you got questions on management, go and talk to Kimberly. That's super cool. I think social media oftentimes is one of those beasts that and I mean, like Alexa even mentioned it, like, hey, my main base is on TikTok and Facebook and I don't really use Instagram that much. And I think, social media as a whole is this beast that you're oftentimes trying to tackle, and it's not just a matter of trying to tackle it, but tackle it when it's still changing all the time. All 3 of these apps are consistently changing, and that's where we can end up feeling like our head's gonna spin off because there's just so much going on. So I think if you everyone that put this in the chat of like what they've been doing on there, I think that's great. I am oftentimes of the mindset of if you're able to obviously ramp it up. I can't really say a particular number. You really have to see what's going to be best for you, what you're able to be consistent with. And then kind of go from there of seeing how that's working for you. Do we need to up it? Are you finding you actually have more time? And see what you can do there. But I think the tricky thing is if you go like in a lot of times this ends up happening is people go full throttle, they're in there and then you never hear from them, and then full throttle and then so if you're able to be consistent on that, you're going to be in a really good position there, and if you can be proactive, even better. So okay, so the other piece I'll just mention quickly here on Instagram is one thing when it comes to your actual highlights on your page, and this kind of links back to our whole landing page discussion, is what I would highly recommend is a lot of times people don't utilize those highlights enough, and myself included. Like I got to update those. Some of them are pretty ancient and I want to make sure I'm doing current and relevant content. So if you haven't actually gone through and updated them, labeled them with what exactly you've got there, or maybe you just have one or two highlights right now on your profile and you're like, you know what, I got to up my highlight game and add a bunch more on there. That's one thing I will encourage you to do. And have some that have a call to action, have some that have your availability, have some that are labeled specifically for 2025 weddings, if that's your niche, or have one that's like how to book. Like make it super, super easy for your client so that if someone is landing on there, they can be like, oh, this is what I have to do. Maybe you already have a call to action in your bio. That's great. But the more you can do that and give people the opportunity where they literally just don't have to think and they can just click, you're going to be in a better position there overall. So that's one thing I will mention there. And the other piece is, since we're looking at, Instagram, we're looking at TikTok, we're talking about landing pages, content creation. There's been a lot that we've talked about. But one thing I will say is, I know a while back here, I can't remember when, but I did some audits and whatnot for Instagram and TikTok, just some mini tips and audits and such. So if you want me to do that, just literally shoot me a message, tell me which one you want me to look at. I'll go ahead and take a look there and give any feedback that I've got. Just have to send me your username because this chat is oftentimes confusing to go through after the call. But that's one thing I'll just leave there with you guys. So I want to know anything we chatted about that you want to add to, or you want to unmute, ask a question, anything that I missed that you wanted to know about. I've got about 5 minutes here. So if there's anything there, unmute, use the chat box, whatever works best. And let's see here. Alexia, I really wish they could all be tied together in some way. Meta owns Instaface. Maybe that's my issue, is haven't got them tied together. Yeah, I mean, if you can just get the auto post going on every time you post to Instagram, it's going to go to Facebook. That'll save you some time there. Same thing with stories. Just getting those linked up is really, really great. Delaney, Instagram is getting an in-app schedule now. I haven't messed with it, but that could be something to explore more when you're looking to plan. Interesting. App scheduler. So Delaney, are you saying like on when you go to post something that you can, because I have seen that you can plan ahead for it. I don't personally use it, but yeah, Meta Business Suite, definitely an option to take a look at, especially just having things connected. Can it be done from so you're saying like Facebook post to Instagram? It's a good question. I haven't explored it that way, but maybe Kimberly knows.
Yeah, like, can you schedule posts from Facebook? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, in a sense. I've been told that
Yeah.
Instagram can only do it from that side to Facebook, but for some reason
Oh.
nobody's really explored onto the and I've looked everywhere
You
on
can
Facebook.
toggle, you can toggle for your posts, like toggle it on. for posting to
Okay.
Facebook, but I don't know like how effective that is because if you have like tags and stuff like that in your posts, it'll show up the same way on Facebook, and then like you won't be actually tagging those pages on Facebook.
So I know that, and first of all, I'm so sorry if you hear my husband in the background, yelling fireball. But I know when you're taking it from Instagram and you toggle it to share, it never converts. Like Kimberly was saying, that it always is that that weird in between, it doesn't follow through. And sometimes it untoggles itself even if you say, leave it on.
Yeah, it's such a huge downfall for Meta. I really wish that they would, I don't know, get even deeper with that kind of stuff. I mean, I get that some people aren't going to be on Facebook, or they may not be on Instagram either, so it's kind of hard to gauge that from the platforms. But I just want to be able to engage more with Instagram, and it's really hard to do that because I, for one, just don't understand it at all. I understand more on Facebook's side.
I
So,
do know this is like, I wish I knew how I did it. And it's not through Meta Business Suite. But whenever I publish something on my personal Facebook page, it sometimes publishes on my personal Instagram page. So, and I didn't post it, I just don't post on my personal some of the stuff. So I'm like, I have to go through my personal feed if I whatever. So I'm like, and I'm on the computer now looking at Meta Business Suite. So it's like, I kind of say absolutely. I agree with you of like, why can't I just do it all in one?
yeah, it's just so confusing. It's like it should be as they are the same
I
company.
found
That's
it.
what I've done. Oh, she found it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yay!
So,
Yay!
um, I'll share screenshots of how to get to
Okay,
it.
cool. I
Makes it easy.
appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
Beauty.
I also just wanted to touch on your comment regarding it posting to your personal or not posting at all across the platforms. I had to deal with that at one point, and the way I fixed it, I literally just went through and completely disconnected everything and then reconnected it and tested it with the first post, and that's how I fixed that.
Okay, I may need some extra hands to kind of help guide me on how that would work because I'm a little lost.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Beauty. Love it. Yeah, Delaney, you can even if you want, you can drop the screenshots in the group chat, or you can send it directly to Alexia, but I feel like others would like to take a look too. So feel free to do either, whatever works. But I love this. This is why I prefer if we can go collaborative and unmuting. So I appreciate everybody sharing. That's awesome. Okay, love it. So Delaney will do that. Awesome. Good to see everyone here. I do need to wrap us up here, but I have this live on Facebook too. So I'll share a recording as well in case anyone wants to watch it afterwards or if you want to reference back. But this was a lot of fun. I love doing these. My goal, I'll put it out there. My goal is to do these once a month on different topics. Now I say that's the goal because oftentimes I'm on the road or not able to do it, but I'd like to make this a monthly gig. So you guys can help hold me accountable to that. If you haven't seen a post about an August one, shoot me a message, be like, what's going on? You said you want to do these once a month. Call me out on it. Hold me accountable to it because I love the community aspect. I love that typically afterwards people are like, hey, cool, I got some, different ideas. Maybe it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's like, hey, I'm feeling remotivated to go out there and get more bookings because at the end of the day, the beautiful thing with social media is that really you can do so much with it. You can get A lot of inquiries. You can build up your business. Many of my coaching members have hit 6 figures strictly from organic traffic from social media, no paid ads, anything like that. So I think that it's a super cool thing that we can tap into these tools. And like I said, I'm going to host these on different topics. Once a month is the goal. So appreciate everybody taking time out of the Friday nights. I didn't really think about that when choosing the time. I just looked at my calendar and I was like, I wonder if people will come if I'm doing it on a Friday night. But I love that you guys are committed to your business and jumping on here. So if you have more questions, anything like that, shoot me a message on Facebook and I'm always happy to chat. So enjoy your Friday. Thank you everybody for coming on and hopefully see everybody soon here. Okay. Take care. See you guys.